There are two very important factors when establishing a food forest. I will share them with you in this video. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. First off, in the previous video I showed you that I had cut little contour ditches on this hill here to plant Jerusalem artichoke. Now, Jerusalem artichoke doesn't need to be wet. It doesn't need a bunch of moisture, but by planting them on contour, I'm able to find them in this food forest area. So this is the most important part. You need to be able to identify the plants and also find them after you planted them, because a food forest is not going to be easy to mow. It's not going to be easy to clean up. And very often when it's immature, when it's young, you're going to be in here cutting it by hand and basically working around the plants you want to keep, chopping and dropping. The second really important lesson is that you want to continually mulch the foundation and the floor of your food forest. Now, you could mulch it with disposal chop and drop trees like these black locusts here. They're here to be chopped and dropped. You can create ground covers. There's strawberry planted here as a ground cover. You can see the strawberry. And of course, you can see the straw where we marked it. But these plantains and these weeds and these other things are biomass to build up the floor of your food forest. However, there are times you're going to bring in wood chips to mark paths. There's going to be times that you're going to chop materials or add other materials when you're implementing trees. And ultimately, you're going to continue to bring in biomass so that you can have access to your food forest area. So in my case, what we've done by putting our plants on contour is it makes it easy to find them, but I can put little trails in between them. And then as we plant trees, they'll also go on contour. And we have good solar aspects. So the sun's in front of me right now, but it starts out all the way on the other side. It's about 6 or 7 o'clock at night right now. And it's a little bit late, but our plants are in. I put straw around them so I can find them. I have plants that we chopped up above them. And I could have gone below, but I'm running out of battery and I'm a little tired, ready to wrap it up. But because I can find the plants, it's easy to come back in here, chop the materials down using a scythe, using a hand sickle, and then layer those materials down as we continue to select for plants that we want. Now, I like to put a stake next to plants because this one right here, probably going to want to keep that one. And there's another one over here, want to keep that one. So if I put stakes in. Now, there's another factor about mulching your food forest is that it is a tree system. And tree systems work on fungal surface. So you want a fungal soil rather than a bacterial soil that you would use in gardening. So straw is not the most ideal thing to be mulching your food forest with, but you can mulch it with wood chips. You can mulch it with shredded materials. You can mulch it with more woody materials because that is appropriate for the soil biology that a food forest wants. So again, that's why we grow a lot of fodder trees, red buds and other nitrogen fixing trees. And red buds aren't necessarily nitrogen fixing, but basically they look good and they grow fast, and you can chop them up and drop them on the ground and they'll tolerate being pollarded. Now, you don't necessarily want coppice trees. Coppicing is what happens here because these persimmons have been mowed over so many times. And so you can see the woody stumps from where the mowers hit them. And then what's growing out, I want to select 1 or 2 really strong plants and get them grown up as tall as these black locusts here, and then eventually select just one that'll be the final tree. You need to be able to access your food forest. So most of your trees are going to be single stalk, and then you're going to have walking paths in between those. Now, the great thing about mulch and the great thing about contour trails is that you can start choking out a lot of these materials. These plantains that are growing, these different weeds that are growing in here are ultimately, they're deficient soil. And as we build up the soil, as we build up the nutrients, they'll just simply go away. But you can make them go away faster. You can make it easier to walk through your growing areas by certainly putting in some wood chips on a path, or regularly mulching the materials by chop and drop, or by introducing straw or other types of grasses that you've grown elsewhere. Eventually, you're going to be able to put your woody material in here, such as wood trimming, tree trimmings, sawdust, wood chips, and you can do that by first around the plants that you want to keep, mulch around the plants you want to keep, and then ultimately the trails. And then after that, just keep focusing on growing more stuff. Ground covers are a great way to mulch and to protect the soil, and so is chop and drop. And you can see the chop and drop here of even woody materials getting chopped and just thrown on the ground. And then the fungal material, the fungus, which there are fungus among us. There we go, there's one right there. There are fungus among us. Here we go. So there's fungus. That fungus will start eating up the woody material, and it'll break it all down. So one thing you can use is in the soil mixtures that when you plant trees, is actually spent mushroom casings, such as oyster mushroom, any kind of mushroom really, to start just feeding that soil. But then you've got to feed those fungus by putting in woody materials, tree clippings, shredded materials, wood chips, anything you can find. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead, and what we've been talking about is the two key factors when it comes to establishing a food forest. And once you have an established food forest and you have maybe trees every 2 meters or so, you're going to have plenty of leaf fall to feed the soil, and you won't need to do these things. That's one of the values of a food forest. But again, everything that we grow in here, the Jerusalem artichoke, for example, has a massive amount of biomass. It has a big, tall, stalky canes. They're just going to be chopped and laid out in the paths and on areas where we're walking. The strawberries will spread on the ground. The sweet potato and then the other trees that we're going to plant out here are all going to drop leaves at some point or another to build out that soil. I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And of course, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, because I really do want to see you do this. I don't want to see you watch 50 YouTube videos and just think about doing this. I want to hear the questions you have about getting this done. It doesn't matter how much it costs. It is going to save you in the future having an abundance of food and having security when it comes to your ability to feed your family. So I'll see you in the next video.